I'd never been around a poly relationship before.
Yeah.
I did not know anyone like that. Like, none of my friends are, we're all like Valley girls and like, normal.
No one's cool with their husband sleeping with another woman?
No.
Well, this is a great way to introduce you. Hi. So, welcome to Open Late, Miss Lea Griffin.
Why, thank you.
I am so excited because you are helping us launch a new segment or series of Open Late called Asking for a Friend.
Love that.
I really have wanted my listeners to get to know me on a more personal level, on a more like low-key level. I'm not trying to educate you about non-monogamy, polyamory, but here's like bits and pieces of my life and how I came to be like this non-monogamous version of myself. And so who better to do that than someone who is in my home every day, lived in your home. Yeah, for gosh, how long?
It was over a year.
Yeah, over a year. It feels like it was much longer.
I know, it does.
We became family like
Immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember you sitting on the floor like for your interview because you just sat with Warren. Yeah.
Sat with Warren.
Yeah. Hi, Warren. Who is sitting here now?
My boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Warren, stay.
No. Okay. Of course. He's going to bump the cameras.
I know. Warren, please don't bump the camera.
And you have Archie. I told you to bring Archie.
I know.
You
Sorry.
It's okay.
I know. I should have. He would have been. But it's fine because I'd rushed home and then rushed. I didn't want
Yeah. He would have sat right there.
He would have been cute in the chair. I know.
Next time.
I'll bring him.
Because this is going to be a series.
Yeah. He's all come back.
Yes.
We now need to have stuff to talk about.
So, as you can tell, Lea and I had very little boundaries. We became very close very fast.
Oh, yes.
I think it was all of like a week and a half before you were in like my bathroom while I was showering and we were just kicking it.
And I was like talking to you while you were butt naked in the shower. And I was like, this is my vibe.
But you were like family instantly. And I think is important to me because there are a lot of people in and out of this home all the time. And I've never been one to like, when people work with me, I don't want it to feel like this like boss dynamic. I've never been comfortable with that. And also people in my home, I want them to feel like welcome and good. And so I don't know, that rapport just means a lot to me because I want to be comfortable in my own home.
I think too, it was like it took me a minute to get comfortable and realize that because I've worked in other homes where that wasn't the case. And so I was like, I have worked in a home, of course, where that was. But it had been a while since that.
Right.
So I was like, wait a minute. Oh my gosh. And like the freedom, like you just like to feel like, oh, okay. Like I can be myself. Like it took me a minute to like really understand that.
Yeah. I actually forgot about that you weren't like in the same kind of just like chill mode in your previous places. I always like think about the people that I know that you talk about so warmly that I worked with before. And I'm like,
because I'm not going to talk about the shitty
ones. With that. But I am so glad that we had our moment. Now we get to be friends.
Yeah, I know. We're meant to be friends.
We don't see each other enough.
We don't. But
we're gonna
best of friends like don't have to see each other all the time. Well, when they do, it's like no time has passed, and that's how this is.
Very true. Every time I see you, it's like we pick up where we left off.
It's home.
Yeah. And we learned a lot from each other.
We learned a lot from each other. A lot.
And I still do. Yeah. Well, I know that you kind of came with some questions for me.
I did.
And I have some questions for you too. So where should we start?
Well, I think we should start with the fact that I walked into this situation here when I came in here to be your guys' assistant and your in-home assistant. I'd never been around a poly relationship before.
Yeah.
I did not know anyone like that. Like none of my friends are, we're all like Valley girls and like, normal.
No one's cool with their husband sleeping with another woman.
No. Like I was always the weird one because I always liked to hear about my boyfriend's past transgressions and like I would always want them to tell me because I always thought it was so sexy when like a man, but like I'd like to hear that. So when I came into the home, I remember prior to because I got this connection through Casey. Our
Oh,
mutual
right.
friend.
Yes.
And she told me,
Mhm.
she goes, just so you know, they're in a poly relationship. And I was like, what? Like, what is that? And I was very unfamiliar with that word.
Was she like, they're going to try to sleep with you?
No, she didn't say She didn't say that.
I just
I was like, I hope so. Yeah. No, but like, you know what I was thinking about that actually, because I think a lot of people would think that. And one of the best things is like that never was like an issue. There was never any discomfort. And like from a job standpoint, like that's not always the case as women, as we know. And I never felt uncomfortable.
Oh, that makes
Never. Even amidst all the madness. Like I never felt uncomfortable. I never was put in a position. I always felt so cozy and like just like at home, and just never was made to feel like anyone wanted to fuck me. So fuck you guys.
Sorry. Man. And that's like, that, I feel like, well, I take that really to heart, and it means a lot, because we have, like, they're not even just us, but like there are a lot of people in our community and like our friend group, and not that everybody's open, but I'm always hyper vigilant about it because it's my biggest fear that, and I think it's just, it comes from the place that polyamory and non-monogamy gets really over sexualized in general, so that I think when people come into a situation, they bring that sort of whatever, that limited understanding, and they might project that, and so it's really easy for people to feel that way. So I'm always like extra careful. I think I have a pretty flirty personality, but I constantly check it, or I found that I'm like, oh, like don't be like that, because I don't want people to assume or be uncomfortable. And so I've limited that over the years, which I've just now started to like undo a little bit, and I'm like, oh, just let me be me. I can, you know, be that way. But yeah, it's been beneficial because I like to keep like clean lines for the most part. Well, except for I don't have boundaries, but
me neither.
It's better to
I've gotten better starting here. My boundary work started in your home.
Yeah,
not with you guys, with my personal life, because as you know, you are a healer of sorts, and in all different capacity. And I had no boundaries ever in regards to my relationships, my personal relationships, my family, my life, everything. And you helped me with that because you are great with boundaries.
It's good to hear. It's still a work in progress.
Of course, I mean it is, but like you did help me like with boundaries. That was something, that's where my work started, with boundaries here. And now I live with Marie Louise. It's like the queen of boundaries. So like
boundary queen.
Yes, the Aquarius girls. But but that being said, I agree. I think when people hear like, oh, you're poly, like, oh, they want to fuck me or something. That never actually crossed my mind, honestly. Also, I'm just a very open-minded person, so like I just never was like, oh, that means they're gonna want to fuck. Like I don't think that way. But I can imagine that probably a lot of people do, and I think so.
I think over the years it's less and less that people.
It's become more. It's getting more and more. Understood maybe. Yeah.
It's coming more into the light, I think.
Yeah.
But I want to back it up just a smidge and talk about, because you mentioned when you first started, that's when your boundary work started. And it goes sort of along the same line. When you first started, you were newly sober.
Yeah. Very newly sober. I was, 4 months.
I don't even think it might.
Not even. 3 months sober. It was before COVID. Yeah. It was like, it was February 2020.
Oh, that's right.
So it was like, I got sober October 2019.
Okay, so it was like 4. It was like
3 to 4 months. Yeah, 3 to 4 months.
So there's so much to talk about with your sobriety.
Yeah.
But I shared with you the other day that I am, not getting sober from a place of like having a problem, but I really don't find that alcohol fits into my life. And so I'm testing out this level of sobriety. I haven't had alcohol in like 4 months. And so to celebrate.
Yeah, I'll show you celebrate.
I actually wanted to So that we can have a little, make it a party, right?
Yeah.
Let's make it. I'm testing these actually out for the party that I'm having on Saturday.
Oh,
that you'll be
amazing.
at.
I will.
So it's already opened,
Beautiful.
but we get to have this while we talk about sobriety.
So do tell me, what
It's
is
a
this
little
you're pouring me?
Sparkling, non-alcoholic brut made in California by Shirley. And we'll start here.
Okay.
So, cheers to your sobriety. How long
Cheers.
has it been?
It has been 3 years and 3 months.
Congrats.
Cheers. Thanks.
And wow. Have you had this one?
No.
It's yummy,
Oh,
right?
it's good. It tastes like,
It tastes real.
yeah.
And like what? I mean, but it's grapes. I'm like, what are they putting in here? It's actually grapes.
Wait,
So-
insane.
It's insane.
De-alkalized white wine. This is amazing. Guava, concentrate, grapefruit juice. Wow.
Oh man.
Oh,
Yeah, it's really yummy. And so I'm really
Oh
enjoying.
my gosh, I have to get some of that. That's so much fun because it's hard, when I'm at parties when I'm being sober. And it was really hard for me. You remember, because I would avoid.
You wouldn't even go.
I wouldn't go.
Mm-hmm.
It was too hard. Not because I wanted to drink, but because I felt so uncomfortable in my skin. And I just didn't know how to be.
Right. And when people ask you, why aren't you drinking?
And it's so funny because that's the one thing people can never understand why people don't drink, which is so funny because it's like, how come you don't ingest poison? It's like, what? You don't drink? Because it's so normalized. But yeah. But I don't drink, and for a different reason than you. I don't drink because I'm an alcoholic. And if I drink, then I don't stop.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between you and I. You're making a conscious choice. I need to go to AA. But,
But it's been a beautiful journey.
oh my God.
And I feel like so lucky that I got to have a courtside seat to that.
You got to see the nitty gritty though.
Yeah.
Like, I went through. It was. There was some time I couldn't think.
He feels our emotions.
I know. Do you feel?
He feels it's getting like sweet in the heart.
Because that was hard. It's the first year of sobriety, and I told my brother this, who's sober as well now, and he's finished his first year of sobriety. He's on to his second. This the right
I'm
age.
so proud.
And the first year sucks, man. It's just so hard. You're faced with all those things that you have been avoiding your whole life with alcohol and drugs and all the things. So
Yeah.
and you got to be,
I was there.
you got to be a part of that with me. But no shit, like what better environment could I have been? I mean, thank God.
The incubator.
Is what we call it, though. Because you make space for people to be people in your home and have, it's not like, oh no, you can't have a bad day.
Yeah.
Like you guys always, and that's so funny because Robbie, I remember when he had a hard day once, right when he started.
I know.
And I said, Robbie, talk to them. Just tell them what's going on. And the relief that came with that for him. He also was not used to that.
Yeah.
A lot of people are used to that in a home, working in a home.
It's different working here. We're not
very different.
Corporate environment.
No, it's insanely different on a level.
We always joke that Nicole is HR and she's just constantly putting out fires.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But there's no other way to be when I think the work that we do, we have a lot of people in and out of our home all the time. And we both work from home and run like multiple businesses and nonprofits over the years here. And so we're not here to be like uptight and act like you have to be a certain way. It's like, because we're both into personal development and healing and spirituality, we know the benefit and we know what makes someone, at the end of the day, more whole, more complete, and they're going to be better functioning and better at their job, frankly, because when you're, so it's not totally like selfless in a lot of ways. I'm like, if
you get something from him,
if I see this person grow and navigate the ups and downs of their life in a really authentic way, then I know how to have their back when they need it, and I know like the boundaries, right? And I mean, there was that one point where like you needed to take time off, and I was like, that is what we're doing. I don't care what we have on the agenda. Like we're doing that, because health is the most important
I
thing.
know. That was a hard. It's also hard when I suffer from depression. I'm a firm believer in medication for those types of things, and for me it saved me. But it's hard for me to tell somebody, hey, I need help, like I'm not okay, and I had to sit there and tell you guys that. And that was a hard time because you guys could see it.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck is wrong?
Yeah.
What is going on? And you knew. And I just, I broke on you guys. I broke. And you made space for me to do that.
We love you.
I know. I love you guys too. It was a really telling moment. But that aside, I will say too, as somebody who I really love openness. And I just live for like openness about sexuality. I love to talk about sex. I love hearing about.
Yeah.
You do. I do. I'm a Scorpio.
Yeah.
I'm like, tell me what I do. And I just think sexuality is important. Gosh, I think like in another lifetime I should have been like a sexual psychologist or something. I don't know, but
You still could be.
I still could be.
There's lots of iterations.
It's true.
Of career moves.
Because like everybody always tells me their sex stuff. Like I'm always like so non-judgmental because I just want to hear it. It's like so fascinating.
Yeah.
So coming in here, it was like fascinating to me.
Were you ready for all that? Were you like, or this is going to be a new level?
Was I ready? I wasn't intimidated. I wasn't like, I can't handle this. This is weird. Or what is this about? I was very intrigued. Also because personally, my ideas of monogamy are not the norm. Like I've always gone against the grain and I've always been a nonconformist. So like monogamy has always been very difficult for me. And
do you see yourself potentially in an open relationship in the future?
Sure. I mean, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Who knows? I would never say never say never.
Do you feel like
I don't think. Why are you guys looking?
No,
for
a new girlfriend.
Girlfriend?
No, at the moment because we're bringing babies into this world. Because I get asked a lot. No, I do feel like I feel like I don't know the answer to this. I don't know if I've ever asked you if you even believe that monogamy can really work long term. Because like I know your relationship history and like infidelity and things like that. So are you at this point feeling jaded about monogamy, or you're like it can still be the thing?
So as you know, my best friend has a podcast called Broad Ideas.
Yes.
Give a little plug.
Which when I heard you on Broad Ideas, I was like, why haven't I had Lea on my podcast?
I know.
We'll give it a big plug because it's like the main reason I had the inception for bringing you on.
Well, thank you. It was, and the title of the podcast is Infidelity. And because we talk about that, they have very different views on it than I do too. They're very, one of them is in a very committed marriage with children. Beautiful relationship, actually. They have a beautiful monogamous relationship. Probably one of the few that I look at and I'm like, wow, they really figured something out. But they've done a lot of work on themselves separately and together. And so it's really incredible. But yes, overall, and we talk a lot about this on that episode as well, but overall, no, I think monogamy I don't believe that we biologically, I mean, this is just my personal belief, and I don't think it's not possible. I do think monogamy is possible, absolutely. But biologically and from like a scientific point of view, like I don't believe that that's what was intended. Like I don't think as human beings, like we're intended to be with just one person for the rest of our life. Is it possible? Yes. Do people choose that? Yes. And some people more than others, and some people can do that, and all respect.
Right.
But overall, I think, Rachel and I always joke about this because when marriage was like when people live to be 30 years old.
Right.
So it's not hard to stay married till you're 30.
No, it's really not.
But like,
times have changed. And to your point, I agree, and I think everybody listening to the show knows, but I'm not against monogamy at all. I know a lot of really happy monogamous couples. I think there's a big difference between like entering into monogamy because you think that it is the only type of relationship, and like consciously choosing monogamy and consciously choosing your partner.
So well said.
It's a big difference. Yeah.
That is so well said. I've never thought about that's a great way to put it, because it's like, I have to be monogamous because that is what society says I have to be. Instead of saying, no, I just want to. This is all I want. This is who I want.
Yeah.
And so it's forced on us. Monogamy is forced. I think it's been forced on society, like monogamy, and this is wrong. And like, don't get me wrong, like nobody wants to get cheated on and lied to, and that's not fun. But it happens all the time.
Yes.
Because we're human beings, and human beings, men and women too. It's not just men. They crave
the novelty. They just want newness.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because hearing you talk, it's like confirming some ideas that I have when you say like being with the same person, until you're 30 versus being with the same person until you're 90 is hard, right? And it's like you actually can be with the same person until you're 90, but being with the same person sexually until you're 90 can be a challenge for some people, the way we're wired. And that's the thing about polyamory that I love, is it really helps you explore like getting different needs met from different people. I just read a really good book called Marriage from Miserable to Magnificent or something like that, and I'll link it in the show notes. It's so good. I did an episode a little while back about the different types of love, because they detail it in this book, and I was like, oh great, this is so brilliant, because there's like ludus, which is like playful love that you see like on the playground when people start to like their hormones are riled up, or even how people are when they're like newly falling for each other. Eros, which is like new relationship energy, you can't keep your hands off each other, right? Falling in love, which is really infatuation. And then there's like the love you have for your family or your kids or yourself. There's all these different types of love. And then there's pragma, which is like the ultimate love, which they talk about in this book. That's what long-term couples really should aspire to, because it includes everything. Sometimes you have to be there for your partner as like their parent, maybe as you're aging and someone needs care. And sometimes you're gonna have unconditional love for them, which is like agape, which is like I forgive you for like an infidelity or something like that. And so I'm like going on a tangent, but
no, it's interesting.
I think it's really powerful to look at like the dynamics of all these different types of love. The Greeks had all these words. We have one, I love you, and I say that to you, or I say that to your future kids, or whatever, but very different things.
Very different things. Agreed. And and in a relationship, in your relationship with Pasha, over the years that you guys have been together, I don't doubt that your love changes sometimes day to day, but like it's a love. It's just there's different
levels to it.
Levels. Love is,
chapters, seasons. That's what I love about non-monogamy so much. Because we have had chapters where we've like closed, and maybe not even intentionally closed, but like we're monogamy for a while. But so I feel like we have so much to talk about. We could be here for
hours. Do you edit these?
Hardly.
Okay.
I only edit if I feel like there's a real need for it. Like if Warren starts barking and running around, we'll edit it out. But I want to know, what was it like for you to really encounter, the nitty gritty, right, of our relationship? For example, having to drive like a girl, like another partner of Pasha's home.
When they got back from Vegas,
yeah, when
they had gone on their trip to Vegas together.
They went on a little like hot little weekend.
He went on a hot weekend with his like girlfriend.
Where was on?
You were out of town.
I think it was with Lauren doing a retreat or something.
We were with Lauren doing a retreat.
Yeah. So I was with my girlfriend. He was with his girlfriend at the time, and
I did feel protective for you. Like it was funny. Like I got a little like,
you were a little activated.
A little bit. Yeah. It activated me. And it was so funny. No. You're like, it's not, I don't.
I think you like came to me.
I did. I was like,
wait, hold on. Okay, so yes for that, but also
Yeah.
let's back it up to when you first met Lauren,
Oh,
because that came earlier. And I feel like there was a very protective Leah, because you
That was-
always
I
had
didn't-
the mom energy.
Yes, I
like
very
even though it's
maternal.
like that's the
Yes,
age,
I
you're
know.
very maternal, and
Well, I'm older than you. I am.
by like hardly. Okay,
Moms are.
and I will say, like, there have been times in my life where I really need that.
Yeah.
You know, like I love having that, and it makes me feel like safe, and it's been nice because, you know, Nicole wasn't living here yet.
Yeah.
And, like, she gives me that mama energy now,
Yeah.
and my mom lives so far.
Yeah.
You know, so we don't like spend any time together. So
Yeah.
in comes Mama
yeah.
Leah.
The Mama Leah.
And we're with Lauren already at that point.
Yes. Oh yeah.
But you hadn't
but
met
I
her
didn't.
yet.
I hadn't met her, and I didn't know that we hadn't dug into the nitty gritty of the dynamics of your relationship with Lauren yet. So I just had heard about her, but I did not know, like. And I know that you and Pasha and Lauren have gone through different phases of your relationship with each other. Like, there have been times where Pasha and Lauren were intimate, and then they weren't intimate, and then you and Lauren were, and then you guys, you know, it's been phases. And when she was introduced, I think it was during a time when her and Pasha were in an intimate state. And yes, I felt very protective and like, mom, like, you know, like, who the fuck is this bitch? Like, what does she think? She, you know, this is her. And I just,
It's her house.
yeah, and I just like, and I just didn't get it. I didn't know. So and also that the best part about it was like your reaction, which was so funny, because you were just like, no, it's great. Like, you were so unbothered, and like, if anything, like, extremely supportive of it. And I know it, like, it fed something in you to have them doing their thing. So, but I didn't understand. I'm like, how can she not be insecure, or how can she not be?
Was it like a barbecue or something the first time? I'm trying to remember, like, where you were. Was it like a crawfish boil?
Maybe it was a crawfish boil, or she just came. She was here, and maybe like was up there.
Oh,
they
okay.
came
Maybe. So they were like in the bedroom. And then, and I was probably like working.
Yes, you were downstairs. That's what. And they went upstairs or something and had a little thing going. And you were just like not interested. I'm like, I was just like,
you're like trying to put all the pieces
I was
together.
just trying to understand. I just didn't fully get. I couldn't, for like, also just like, because I believe, and I've told you this, that watching.
Warren, can you go lay down? Go lay down. Come in. Go on your bed.
Good.
We'll have to edit that out. Go on your bed. Maybe not.
We love you.
Thank you. I know we're gonna go on a walk.
I'm gonna not say your name again, because that's why you came over. I really admire yours and Pasha's situation. I feel like, because now that I've been introduced to this world, and your friends, and some of my friends, it can get very messy. There's work that goes into it, and I feel like, I know that you've told me. I've had conversations with Pasha and you about it, that you guys have put a lot of work into this relationship to get to where you are, because there were moments of jealousy at some point, and I know there were some stuff like that. But I always say this, even to some of our friends, I'm like, damn, I'm like, they figured the poly thing out. Like, they figured it out.
I feel like we have at this moment.
Well, as long as I've been knowing you, which has now been, it's been like 3 years. I've felt that. And it can just be, you know, I'm in your home. Like, I see everything. Everything.
And hear it too, because this house has been a lot.
It's like, you know, and like, it was really impressive to me, because I'm like, it can get messy.
It can.
It's messy.
And the interesting thing is, from my perspective, when people are like, oh, this can get messy, it's like a don't do it, right? And I've learned over the years that, like, the mess is like where you can be like, okay, this doesn't work anymore. We don't need this. It's like, the mess is where you can actually sort out the, like, things that hold you down or weigh you down or hold you back. And it's not that I like want to run headfirst into drama, but being a little messy is kind of being in that like that uncomfortable zone, that like outside of your comfort zone, right? I mean, like when you're like on your sobriety journey, right? Like it's like you have to go through that to get to this like incredible place.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about non-monogamous relationships. And in a lot of ways, I feel like Pasha and I, people say this a lot, like, oh, you guys really haven't figured out. We're really well matched as people.
Yeah.
And
I love your guys's. I love your whole thing.
Yeah.
I adore Pasha. Like I have such a
he is
precious.
I know.
And I love how he is with you.
Yeah.
Like he's obsessed.
He's pretty obsessed with me.
It's fucking adorable though. It's so sweet and cute. He
really affirms our love.
He does, and he sees you and he affirms your love. And but I don't know, you guys you're a great match.
Yeah.
You truly are.
And I think it's made it easier for us to do non-monogamy.
But you guys are also constantly growing and growth. Like you never are like, okay, the work's done here. We figured it out. Like
never.
You guys are always, and both of you, and you've done it separately and together. I think that's like the big thing. It's like you do it separately and then you do come together, and that's what makes it work.
It's made a big difference. Yeah. I'm like, thank you. I appreciate the like acknowledgement and hearing it. And one of the things that actually just stuck out for me, and I really never been able to put my finger on this, so I'm so glad that you brought it up because he is obsessed with me. But I'm going to make a really interesting point here. I think one of the reasons that I'm so confident and that it doesn't bother me to think about my husband falling in love with another woman, because he has before my eyes, before all of our eyes, right? Is because he constantly affirms our love from a really authentic place. So for people listening to this, I think what I really want to like communicate, and I hope I drive this point home, is, you know, we have a specific dynamic. There's so many ways to do non-monogamy and poly, and I think that's like such a spectrum, and like find what works for you. But if you're in a partnership and you've been in that partnership that's monogamous, and this is like your person and you're either married to or committed to for life, whatever, and you guys want to open up, one of the best things you can do for each other is get your relationship like so solid, and continually remind yourself that like this is your person and you're choosing this person,
right?
And you also have space to like be with someone else if you want, but you also get to have this and nurture this incessantly, because he does. And it's taught me how to too. I didn't really know how to like show love that way. I didn't see my parents really like I mean, I never saw my parents together because they were divorced before I was like 2. But even with when my parents both remarried with my step parents, never saw that. I saw just a ton of fighting. And I mean, my dad and my stepmom, my mom and my stepdad have been divorced for a long time, but my father and my stepmom now are adorable. But they still bicker a lot. But I didn't see a whole lot of affection and like sexuality, sensuality, none of it. You know, there was a whole gamut of things, and I grew up in a lot of, you know, different dynamics, and learned about, like, was super brokenhearted when I learned about infidelity in my family, and like, you know, so bringing all that to the table, he's really shown me how to show love. I didn't even know how to do it in a way that was like pure to a romantic partner. I only knew like, let me point out all your faults, but I'll do it in a funny way, because this is what we do in front of people. It's like we bicker, we fight, but it's cute and it makes everybody laugh. It's not. No. I mean, you know,
I remember one time, this is one I like, because I always, Pasha's like you said, he's very affirming, and like, it's not that you're not affirming, but he is more the affirmer. But I remember one time you had a bad day. I don't know what happened. I don't remember, but I kept my distance because you were having a moment, and you went into his office and you sat on his lap and you cried, and he hugged you and he helped you like you needed him. And I just remember being like, wow,
Wow.
And it was just like really interesting because I was like, oh, she fucking needs him. Because sometimes you're very independent. You're very like, so sometimes it's like, does she need him? And
Does she love him?
Does she
No,
want
I
him?
know.
No question if you loved him. I know you can't not love Pasha. Anyone who knows Pasha, you just loved him immediately. But you're very independent and you're very like, you're really okay with him falling in love with somebody else and you're okay with him like, you know, and so I was like, but I remember that day so well. It's like stands out.
Wow.
It was really cool.
I'm trying to, I vaguely remember doing that. I've maybe only done that a few times, like in this house and kind of like that dynamic. I'm wondering, and I didn't close the door.
No,
I just like,
it was open, but I stayed away. Like, I think you were just upset and you weren't paying attention. Maybe it was like cracked. I don't know, but it was obvious you're upset. And you went and sat on his, and I think maybe I was doing something in an area where you didn't give a shit if I saw or not.
Yeah.
Really. You were in your moment with him. But I just remember you like, you were like fetal almost on him, like a little baby. And he like knew what you needed to care of you and you needed him. Yeah. And I was like, okay, like this is fucking cool.
Wow. Thank you for bringing up that memory. When I pick up the airport, I'm not picking him up, but I was going to say, when he comes home later, I'm going to remind him. Yeah. And he is like so dynamic as a partner. I mean, he really can like get present and sort of assess what I need and either just like comfort me. You know, he knows like not to go into solution mode.
Yeah.
Like as a lot of men do.
Yes. I know men like they want to fix the problem.
They do, fix it, don't they?
can't always be fixed right away.
Oh. I have another thing. Let's try a different.
Okay,
drink that out. Yeah. Yeah. It's so nice because we can like keep tasting things.
I love it. I mean,
no one favorite drug.
I had when I went recently went to Bora Bora with my.
Oh, that's right, with Johnny.
Yes, with Johnny, with my person, my soulmate, and they left non-alcoholic wine in our room, and it was so good.
Mm-hmm. See, by the way, this is polyamory because like. Okay, so we can talk about Johnny to be sunset. Mm-hmm. Johnny is an incredible human who I've also never met. By the way,
you met Johnny?
No, I haven't. I met your brother.
Oh, you met my brother.
I never met Johnny, but maybe like over FaceTime. So maybe.
Yes, and I know you helped him, or he helped. You guys helped me with like.
Can't he do something?
Like I got like you guys did like a reading for me.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he like gave you the person. I think something like that. Yeah, that was amazing.
I'm glad. I think I still use the astrologer for myself.
She was incredible.
Yeah. Is it Noella?
Oh gosh, I can't remember. Maybe that's okay. Familiar though.
Maybe. Well, anyway.
Yeah.
The reason I wanted to, I digress.
Johnny.
So you have basically been in a partnership, I would say, with Johnny since you were a teenager. Mm-hmm. And Johnny is a gay man who has had like, you know, relationships, of course. You've had relationships, but like he's your person. He's your life partner. Mm-hmm. And you will likely be together. Like it's not like you're going to leave each other's lives.
No.
And like in my mind, I think that's a version of like you guys will never be romantic. Even though Paris Hilton told you that you should sleep together.
She did tell us to fuck. We were both like, oh. I'm like, he doesn't want to fuck.
Yeah.
It's just no. Johnny's beautiful. He is a stunning man. He is a tall glass of water. You know, he's sexy with his tattoos. I mean, he's beautiful. I've seen every time I've ever been anywhere, Johnny, women are just like, you know, he's a beautiful man.
But nothing to do with
women. But not that he doesn't want anything to do with women. He's just
right.
Sexually.
Of course.
But he's my soulmate. Yes. And you know, Johnny and I it's funny because like I'm not huge on I love for myself personally, I love weddings, I like respect marriage, and I get like it's something for everybody. Everybody's different. But for me personally, like I was never that girl that was like, I want to get married and I want to have a wedding. Like I just never felt like, you know, like I said, I'm just I'm different. And
I would marry Johnny.
Yeah. Just like for tax breaks.
Yeah.
Why not? Like, why not? Marry Johnny, we can fuck whoever we want and like come back home together and talk about it and like, you know, grow old together.
Probably rather live with Johnny than like live with your romantic partner. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because it keeps the romance alive longer. Like people are like, oh wow, you spent so much time apart. It's like, yeah, so I could miss him, like wanna hop on top of him when he comes home.
It's healthy. I can't with these.
Yeah. But I get to like live with like Nicole and like Lauren's actually living here at the moment.
And that's another thing. I love your living sitch. So you guys, I lived alone for a while. I split up. Well, I lived alone for a while, and then I had a partner for like a long time. I had a boyfriend for like 7 years, and then we split up, and I was alone during COVID, during early sobriety for 2 years, and fucking miserable.
I know. And I remember like I broached that with you, and I was like, I don't want to be pushy, but like, why are you living alone?
But you know why I was living alone, Jess? Do you know why? Because society told me that I should live alone. I am a grown woman, and I'm too old to be living with other people,
like having roommates.
Like
means you're not mature or something.
Or something. Or like it's unheard of that I would choose, because now I'm in a position. I have an incredible job. I'm making money. And I'm independent. I take care of myself. I could live alone right now, and nothing in me wants to. I'm like, I don't want to live alone. I don't want to live alone. I don't think ever. Yeah. Like I did it. I tried it. It's not for me. And you guys really normalized that too.
We've never lived alone.
But you haven't. But it's a beautiful thing. It doesn't fuck up your relationship. If anything, it just like adds to it.
Yeah.
There's people coming and going in a beautiful way. It's never like space is needed. When space is needed, it's given. It's not like we take our space. You do, but you guys really have I really loved that. And so now I live.
You have it.
I live with
you have the exact same thing that we have.
Yes.
And I love it. And I love them.
And we loved them.
Yeah. So as we mentioned, you live with Marie Louisa.
Yeah.
Who you met at my retreat, correct? Which like always makes me feel so like I have a little hair in the like a little magic, you know. Yeah, vibes. But it's nice. And but do you know that loneliness is the leading cause of death in old people who are not sick?
Interesting.
But like it's not, I don't know if it's okay, so this is probably not scientific. Let's back. See, I have to polish its stuff. But I think that studies point to that loneliness makes you like contributes to a low immune system and things like that, with depression and all of that.
Well, even because I do suffer from depression, and when I was living alone, I fell into a very bad space while I was working, and living with Brie and Louisa, and soon I'll be living with her partner, has helped my depression immensely.
Yeah,
because sometimes I need her. Like she'll leave town, and I'm like, oh, okay, when is she coming home? Like I miss her. I want her to come home. It helps me kind of take me out of myself.
Right.
And it's really been, I just don't want to live alone. And I don't know. It's like, it feels like society. It's like, I sometimes like have this like fight with society we all do, I guess. And I know you have too, with monogamy, with marriage, with, I should be married with kids by now, and house and all these things. And I've had to fight against them my whole life. And you've had to fight against. It's a fight, because we're told, no, this is how it should be.
Yeah.
And fuck that noise. No. Like, no more. I'm like, no. And it took me a while to get to that. But like, no, you should do what makes you happy. And if it makes you happy to be in a polyamorous relationship with your partner and live with your best friends in your house, and then fucking do it.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's incredible.
Also, it helps with the rent in LA because it's astronomical.
It's very expensive to live here.
Insanely. But you're right. And I think we're seeing the changes. And it's like, sure, don't we all wish that we didn't care at all, like what societal norms were, and that because some people might be listening and they're like, well, why do you even care? And like, why, no one's telling you, no one's like knocking on your door being like, you shouldn't live alone. But what happens is, as young, people, I was going to say like young women, like young girls, but I think it happens for everybody. We're just a bit more socialized to be a certain way. But you grow up seeing in media and television and culture, all kinds of everything, entertainment, ads, that like this is the way to go. And the cool thing is, I think we're at the like leading edge of all of that really changing. And I don't think like in our lifetime we're going to see like some crazy radical shift where it's like this is now the norm. But I think that we'll have space for all of it, and whatever it's choosing,
Like, make the space for all.
yeah, and for it to not be like taboo,
Not be taboo and not feel judged, because a lot of people, and this is what I've heard just in my ears from even some friends of mine, that when I was like around and in this environment explaining, oh no, they're like, oh well, then they don't really love each other. No, there's no way. They don't really love each other. You could never let your man fuck somebody else or let your girl fuck somebody. They don't love each other. Yeah. And I'm like, no, like, yeah, you don't get the world ain't black and white, man. There is so much gray, like, and you don't get it. And I'm not gonna lie. There was a time in my life when that too crossed my mind, and I'm like, how could they love each other, really? But it's like, that is such a limited view. It's so limited.
Well, and it's like what happens is for those people who believe that way, like that is their belief that love has to equal, monogamy. It has to equal this type of fidelity.
Right.
It has to equal ownership. Like my love means like you are loyal to me, both emotionally, sexually, friendship wise, right? How many relationships like where people aren't even allowed to have friends of other genders?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, like, partnership equals possession for people like that.
And here's what, like, okay, that's what you believe. And I'm also in the vein of, do you? Yeah, do what makes you happy. If that's what you believe is love, and that is love, too, then do it. But don't knock my way. Just because that's your way doesn't mean it's my way. Yeah. And that's where I get frustrated sometimes, because I feel like people are quick to say, well, if it's not my way, then it's the wrong way.
Right. And it's not only judgment, but like in the society that we live in, it can come to be like punishment,
shamed.
Yeah.
I mean, who's the holistic
psychologist?
Yes. Yeah. Who, when she came out, I let Holly, lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is like so, because she's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
She's amazing. Every single person you see on Instagram follows her.
I would love to have her on the show so bad.
Yeah, she's her on the show. She's amazing.
Yeah.
She's amazing. Yes. And I remember hearing, and it just made me so sad. Like, oh, suddenly these people who really respected and learned a lot from her Instagram account, which is extremely educational and informative. Mm-hmm. Suddenly we're like, oh no, well, never mind. I can't, like, she doesn't know what she's talking about suddenly because she's in a pulpit.
Right.
But it's like,
she's a trained mental health professional.
It's so interesting. And it's just because of her like personal life choice that suddenly like people felt it just that's a, and that's a really good example of that whole thing.
It's true. Yeah. It is really sad. And I think we're seeing like extremes of it because our country is so polarized right now, and like, it's a little nerve-wracking. We're about to like bring some kids into this world, and I get messages and DMs that like I shouldn't be allowed to have kids because of my relationship, and that so it's there are people who might actually be at risk for like losing housing or like losing their children. And this is kind of like extreme what I'm talking about, but you have like, not here, but like religious crusaders, like at your doorstep. Yeah. There are real consequences. And so it's why I do the show. It's because I think showing healthy versions of non-monogamy where it's working and like, it's not always like perfect, but it works and it's healthy, I think is like the best thing I can do. Right. I'm like doing my part.
And you weren't always this open, young lady. As a matter of fact, yes, you were private, and I remember like you were reluctant because of your business and stuff to maybe like share, like you were newly kind of out as poly too when I came into your life. Like I think it had been like 6 months since you had like told your families or something. So it was like relatively new. And I remember you were reserved in what you chose to share of your personal life on your Instagram.
Right.
And it was interesting to me, you know, because I was like, so when you started because I reached out to you and I was like, this is fucking badass what you're doing. And it just like, I felt like, good. We need this. This is what we need.
We do. Yeah. And I'm happy to do it. In fact, like I think I told you this the other night when we were together at the party. I've like shut down all the other things I do. I'm saying no to like everything else. And this is the only thing that I'm up to right now, which feels really good.
Educate people.
Yeah. And nothing else. We tell them.
And also, in the vein of bringing children into a world of polyamory, what the fuck, like, that's just so many more people to love these little beings.
Thank you.
Like, I have a friend of mine has children with a lesbian couple. They asked him to be the donor.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah.
And he's very much involved in their life. And it's such a beautiful thing to see. And like that, I mean, that's a very that's not like a typical relationship that you see. They're not in a poly relationship per se, but like, I love that, you know? And it's like, it's just more people to love your children. Like, how is more love in your child's life about them going to hurt them?
Yeah. Also, how's more help for you as a parent who's like trying to do all the things? It's a bad thing. I feel like we've been talking about that a lot on this show because, you know, it's topical and like I'm, you know, going to be a mom soon. So I probably mention this person on the show like every other episode, but if you're not already following Remodeled Love, the Day Lovers, Jessica Day Lover, you would even not that you follow poly content, but you would love them because it's this couple, they live in Reno and she's totally out and like creates a lot of content around like educating about polyamory, but her husband's partner, who's her metamor, just moved in with them. And it's like they're doing it for, you know, I think it was like 9 months or something before she like goes to school. I don't know, I'm probably butchering that, but they have 2 little boys and like now they're showing and she's showcasing like what it's like in their home. And she's also, I'm pretty sure she's like a childhood development professional, like a teacher of some sort. So
Love that.
yeah. And they call her Mama Ash and she's like, she's my sister mama. Like, and she's openly sharing how like I was in a really dark place because I was so taxed, and she's also like neurodivergent. So being with her kids a lot can be very overwhelming for her. And then she's not her best. And now she has this other woman who everyone, you know, online is like, oh, cringe, this is whatever. And it's like, how? These kids are benefiting so much.
Everybody's benefiting.
Everybody's benefiting from this. And I'm like, I mean, I get to have that because Lauren's here and Nicole is here. And like, I feel so lucky to go into motherhood this way.
It's not just about sex. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, of course, like poly, of course. And because sex is, I mean, life is sex and sex is life. And that's what makes everything, right?
Yeah.
that's how we're going to bring these babies.
Yeah.
That's how they're coming. But like,
keep talking. I'm going to add this to this because I figured out this really fun concoction.
What is this?
This is kin. Okay. So this is kin euphorics. It is like it has adaptogens.
You always have like the most fun, interesting little.
But so sex is life and life.
So sex is life and life. And poly, like, I'm in a poly really. It's not just about sex either. It's about this relationships with these different people in your life and having, and like you said, like there's gonna be times where you're fucking tired. Wow, you're not, you know, and Lolo, your life partner Lolo is gonna be able to step up. And like, you know, in other cultures, families live together.
Yeah.
And you've got like 18 people in the same family.
I kind of grew up like that.
Yeah.
Parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents.
But family drives this candy can drive you fucking crazy. And
yeah.
But if it's the family you've chosen,
right,
who you also get to have like fucking amazing sex with.
Yeah.
But also like
Mm-hmm.
when you feel like it, and also like love and like yeah, it's so amazing. It's like
It really is a win-win.
it's a win-win.
It's so Lolo and I have moved into like a fully, it's not even, platonic is such a weird word because it's not, but we're not like romantic anymore.
Okay.
And I mean, our relationship has had all of its evolutions,
Yeah.
but it's amazing to think that we can continue to just evolve, right? And that's another thing that I feel like being poly has taught me. It's like when something ends, we don't have to like be upset about it. I mean, we can, of course, there's time for heartbreak, but like things evolve and change, and we don't have to disregard that or like not be in each other's lives or not be friends. We can celebrate that, or we can go through a period of mourning or grief or take some space, and we don't have to lose each other. We can just become like different things to each other. And that's been like one of the best parts about this, because I have that with her. I have that with another friend, you know, that like I'm so happy is still in my life. And I'm friends with like all my exes, but one.
I'm friends with all my exes.
Yeah. I mean,
Don't give me shit about it, but I mean, I've had people give me shit about it.
yeah.
Fuck 'em.
Well, the one I can see. Like,
Okay,
that,
yes.
but I don't think that you should not be friends with that person. Like, if you want to.
I am. I
Yeah.
have no. I see. I don't hold on to. I don't think it's healthy to hold on to anger and like.
It's not.
It's not. We
It's
all
like
know that.
drinking
Yeah.
poison and
Yeah.
affecting others.
So I'm able to, and I'm an empath, and I'm very like understanding of humans and mistakes and fuck ups, and you know, we all do.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. But yeah, no, I'm friends with all my exes.
It's so much growth for you, I would say, because just knowing you, you're getting to relate to that person in a new, healthy way and have different boundaries with them. And yeah, maybe they're not always great, and maybe it's been a journey, and maybe you've had like missteps
Yeah.
in it. But I would imagine now, and I can feel it, it's different. Like, you now relate to them in a different way. Like, you don't have that. And if they had been just completely removed from your life, you wouldn't have that growth opportunity at all. And you wouldn't be able to say, wow, I'm in a completely different place. I look at you differently.
Also,
in a way
like
before.
processing it, just like how I processed in the whole thing too. Like, you know, yeah, it's really interesting. But yeah, I've never been in the vein of like, oh, you're not my boyfriend anymore. Well, then you're out of my life.
Right.
And I have nothing to say to you. It's like, no, like I don't understand that. I mean, unless somebody like really like, unless somebody murders your fucking, you know, dog, yeah. But like, right, there's really, you know, like, yeah, after you can get past things, I think you can get past things with.
I agree. It's so healthy too. Really is. Yeah. Wow. Cheers to that. Let me know what you think of this, because I tried to make it like an Arnold Palmer.
Okay, it does taste like an Arnold.
What is it, right?
What is kin?
I mean, they have a lot of different flavors, but this is
These are so interesting.
okay. So Euphorics for Humankind.
Okay.
It's a lifted mind, relaxed body, kinder spirit, and this one is made with like, where's the ingredients? It's hot girl here. It's okay. Hibiscus, licorice, orange peel, citric acid, and sea salt.
All bliss, no booze.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it has like niacin, vitamin B. It's really yummy. And I'm going to serve it at my birthday.
You should.
This weekend.
You guys always had the non-alcohol. That's another thing too. It was really great being in this environment, getting sober, because none of you guys really drink that much.
We
It was so interesting to me. You would have these parties, and like there was never that much alcohol around, and I was always like, oh, fuck, like this is so, because to me, it ain't a party, and
Right.
like you
We're
know,
raging.
yeah, it's like making stuff. So it was so funny.
When I was younger, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, in my 20s and early 30s. But over the years, I've definitely slowed down because I don't like who I am after, 2 drinks. And we've like had this conversation. And like I said, like this is kind of a conscious choice for me at this moment. But there's a ton of alcoholism in my family. I come from a line of alcoholics. And I have a feeling that if I were still drinking 3, 4, 5 drinks in a night at dinner, I would be not a great person. Like sides of my personality would come out that I don't enjoy, and I wouldn't feel great. I mean, I remember like in my 20s, and granted, like we're all kids
Yeah.
at that point, figuring it out and
Yes.
making like a ton of mistakes. But I would not remember a ton. Like I would black out and I would wake up in the morning and be like, who do I need to apologize to?
Shame, and you're like, what did I do? And
Yeah.
it's such an interesting thing, really, in alcohol. I trip out on it a lot because, and it's so funny because growing up, weed was demonized until now it's legal.
Right.
But every meme on Instagram during COVID, we were talking about how alcohol is so celebrated. You'd see all these memes of people pouring like, I'm only gonna have one glass of wine, and it's like
In the whole glass, yeah.
And like, first, as somebody who's in AA, it was very difficult not to drink during COVID and get sober during COVID because meetings shut down, so you had to do Zoom. So I had to do, and you couldn't have that person-to-person contact, and a lot of people fell out because it was so hard, and then you're seeing all these things of it being celebrated.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? But like, I get it too, as somebody who like, I loved drinking.
Yeah.
I loved to drink. I love nutty.
Yeah.
I love wine.
It's such an accepted way to cope.
It is an accepted way to cope. And but that's the thing. It's not coping. It's numbing. It's an accepted way to numb the pain that is life.
Yeah.
To avoid feeling.
Yeah.
It takes that away, So it's just so interesting.
It really is. I mean, if you do some digging, you'll find that the alcohol lobby is very strong. We don't talk about it a lot, in this country because it's not like a very polarizing thing. Like most people like alcohol at some level, right? Unless you have like an issue with it or you've chosen not to have it or like you're a relative of an alcoholic and like have had that negative experience. But the majority of our country loves it. And, this is not like, I'm not bashing alcohol in this. If you don't have an issue with it, great. But as long as you have a healthy relationship with it, like everything in life.
Like everything in life, any drug for that matter, weed even. Like I know a lot of people that don't have a healthy relationship with weed. Yeah, I didn't have a healthy. I loved weed, but like I would smoke weed all the fucking time.
Yeah. Like, and you're not Cali sober. You're fully sober.
I am a dead ass sober. Okay, I have nothing to numb the pain. I have to ride through it.
You
so
like it
fun.
this way?
Yeah. You know what? I do. I mean, they say in AA, they're like, one of the sayings, and I'm going to not say it properly, but it's to the effect of, we learn to handle situations that used to baffle us. And it's so true. Like, you have to figure out another way because you can't numb it. You can't run from it. You can't hide. You got to deal with it. You have to deal with stuff. And it's very hard to deal with things, but you got to go through them. You have to go through to get to the other side. It's the only way. Otherwise, you're stunted. I mean, you're not gonna grow. I just want to keep growing.
I'm growing. It started here.
It started at the main house down here. Started at the medicine.
So, this has been so amazing. I'm so happy.
I forgot we were going to be doing a podcast.
I know. I didn't mean to. I'm like, oh, there's all the lights there.
Yeah, on camera.
But we started this new series, and I'm happy that you were here to kick it off. I feel like asking for a friend is really going to just be a bit more like life stuff.
Yeah.
And it makes me really happy because I get to like be with the people that I love and just like shoot the shit, drink the tea, whatever.
I would love for like so many people that I love and know to like just sit down in a circle and talk about this because I just feel we've all been conditioned, myself included, and I fought against it my whole life, but like to just feel, that things are supposed to be a certain type of way. And I just love that you're saying, hey, no, it's okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm here to talk about it. And so anyone else that you want to talk about it, let me know. And I'll bring it up.
Yeah, I'll bring it too.
I would love that. I've been thinking about potentially doing like more even groups. Like, I don't know how to manage it with all the microphones.
I know
but
it's hard, probably.
I like multiple perspectives.
Yeah.
And, like The View. Not that I've like watched that in a million years, but with like 6 people, it's like they fight. So maybe not the View style, but like a panel where you have healthy versions of things and you have people that are going through or coming out of like non-healthy versions of things.
I feel like our world is missing communication, healthy communication.
Right.
That's what we're missing right now. Even with politics, it's like nobody wants to listen to each other. Everybody just wants to talk over. Nobody's actively listening. Nobody's really hearing what other people are saying. They want to just say what they want to say before they can even take in what the other person is.
They all need a course in nonviolent communication.
Really.
Yeah.
It's insane. I might not agree with a lot of things, but I always want to hear it and try and understand it, even if I don't agree with that.
That is such a beautiful way to live, because it also, like, what you do is you create space for people to meet in the middle. And I think when we have those like openings of like, yeah, like share with me why you feel this way.
Yeah.
It disarms the other person. So there's not really an attack, and they don't feel attacked. They don't feel like they need to defend themselves. And then they can really share their truth. And then it can be 2 people coexisting, living their truth. Whereas like what we have now, it's like, no, let me try to tell you why my way's better or why your way's wrong. And it's like, you don't leave space for people to just live in their truth and coexist with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've moved from like live and let live to like trying to conquer and be the same, and we're not. And that's like what's so like the beauty of the world that we live in is our diversity is like what makes us such a beautiful planet.
Fascinating. Yeah, I agree. I love diversity. I relish in it.
Yeah. Well, I love you.
I love you.
I relish in this.
I love you.
Do you know when Nicole made lemon bars? I love when
I know. Yes, I want a fucking lemon bar right now.
Let's do it.
Minimalist baker. Lemon bars.
You're the best.
I love you too.
Thank you so much for coming.
Bye.